We need to talk about non-stick pans. Any home cook or even professional cook have always deferred to non-stick pans as a very convenient and easy way to cook certain foods. But whether it's coming from a news report, consumer report, or a scientific journal, the dangers of PFAs, also known as forever chemicals, is becoming increasingly hard to ignore. PFAs have been linked to things like liver damage, reduced immunity in children, and cancer. But we keep using them because they are just so damn convenient, and in certain cases it is impossible to cook easily things like a good sunny side up egg or melt some cheese or make caramels without them. There have been alternatives in the market in the form of ceramic non-stick pans, but up until now they have all been pretty much just trash. Prone to breakage, prone to having their coatings removed even more easily than non-stick pans do, and in some cases exposing parts of a pan that were never supposed to touch your food, making them even more immediately dangerous than non-stick pans, and all around just poor performance in general. That was until I received this pan. This pan I got as a gift from my friend Danny when he was promoting his book, Danny Loves Pasta. It is a ceramic pan from Crate and Barrel, and it was the first time I ever used a non-stick ceramic pan and was actually impressed by it. Even without having any kind of oil or something on it, I was immediately taken by how slick the surface was. I was even curious enough to cook in this pan, and so I fried some eggs in butter, and the non-stickiness was just as good as any non-stick pan that I'd ever used, and this led me down a path of research. All my regular pans, whether they be non-stick or stainless steel, come from a company called Demergier, and it's from Belgium, and the reason why I use those is because they have been making pans for induction since the 70s, so they are extremely good at making induction-friendly cookware. I saw that they had ceramic pans and asked them if I could test them out, and they sent them to me. Essentially, when you are using a ceramic pan as it should be used, it will be just as effective as a non-stick pan. However, the downside of ceramic pans is that the coating is easily damaged by high heat. And unfortunately, a lot of people tend to put them through some really intensive cooking, which is not what they're for. But then again, you're not supposed to use high heat for non-stick coating either. And I think the difference is if you use that high level of heat on ceramic pans, they will just stop working and break down a lot more easily. But if you use that kind of damaging high heat on regular non-stick pans, they will still work, but they could be doing you much more harm. Now, when I say I do use non-stick pans, it is strictly for the purpose that you're supposed to use non-stick pans. Very, very delicate things like eggs, melting cheese, maybe even pan-searing fish very, very lightly. And for anything that requires heat that is hotter than that, I turn to more durable and more safer pans to use, such as cast iron, carbon steel, or stainless steel. Non-stick pans have been in my repertoire for a very long time, but at the same time, I have always respected them accordingly and kept them to their use. That doesn't mean that given an opportunity to a safer alternative, I'm not going to switch over. Now, I should have said this at the beginning, but nobody is paying me to make this video. But if I'm going to give you recipes for meal prep and teach you healthy ways to use spices, I should also probably stay at the forefront of learning which pots and pans do the most damage to us when we use them. It just seems like a natural thing to do. So based on all of this information and this new type of ceramic that seems to be a lot better than the older pans that I have used before, I will probably be weaning myself off of non-stick and switching over to ceramic as they become more available for the pans that I use non-stick for. Now, if you are also planning on making the switch, what are some things that you can do to maximize the lifespan of your ceramic pans? I actually asked Demergier to tell me what their best practices are in caring for these, and I imagine it is very similar to any other newer, higher quality ceramic pan that is on the market. They do not recommend exposing it to temperatures above 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That includes in the oven and on your burner. And burners get super hot, so that means not turning them above medium heat when you're cooking things on there. Those temperatures will still get you a really, really good fried egg, as well as a seared fish and melted cheese just fine. But if you're trying to sear a steak on these things, I would not recommend it. Now, if you remember my pans video where I went through all the different pans that I use, you will already know that nonstick is just a part of your greater kitchen repertoire. If you wanted to brown anything, you would be using either cast iron or stainless steel. And if you were cooking things that are delicate, you would be using your nonstick. This ensures that you have the best and the safest tool possible to achieve what you're trying to achieve, whether it be browning, whether it be eggs or cheese, whatever. And I'm sure as time goes on, especially with more people interested in getting rid of the nonsticks in their house, they will be improving the coatings and the application processes of ceramic pots in more things. So it is in my opinion that you do make the switch if you are interested in doing so, with the caveat that you take extra care to use it within its means and not expose it to anything that might damage them. Now, we did focus on ceramics. If you want to hear about what I have to say about the other pans, you can go ahead and click on the pans video and learn more about it. Just know that decent ceramic is still generally new. I talk about nonsticks in that video when they were the pans that I was using for that purpose. Now for nonsticks, a lot of people will try to use like no oil or butter or whatever with their nonsticks. I never do that because A, it tastes better when you use oil, and B, it just makes it that much easier. The trick is for ceramic and regular nonstick is never use PAM or any kind of nonstick sprays, because those aerosols really do damage the coating. So just like the smallest coating of butter, I actually just keep a stick of butter in the fridge like this for this purpose. And you see like that is half a teaspoon of butter in there, and that's all you really need. Then you just crack in the egg. Oh crap. Well, don't zoom in on that. It just shattered in my hand. This is for demonstrations only, that's fine. It's fine. Take it out real quick. I am a professional person who does this for a living, and I was very good at it too. Unrelated, these chopsticks, these like Korean auntie chopsticks that are silicone, are like my favorite things to use with nonstick pans because A, they're safe to use on the surface, and B, they just work so well in just very delicately moving things. So if I really cared about cooking the egg whites here, I would just like do this and break it up, and like the yolk wouldn't be touched, but all the egg whites would be cooked. But you can see how well this pan works just by everything just slides off of it so very well. And there, and then as far as cleanup goes, it's just a matter of letting this cool down. You should let it cool down, but we're just gonna, there. And then it's clean. There you go. You can have this egg.